Hey, this is Jimmy Lemke, realizing that I just talked for 20 minutes to a webcam that I hit capture for photo instead of capture for video. Luckily for you guys, I went off on a tangent, realized I did go off on a tangent, decided not to, pursue. So, this is what we know about the Costello Athletics Department situation. For those of you who don't know, here's kind of the rough timeline of what we know that is public right now. We have um, a climate study that was launched last month that was interviewing every single athletic department employee to try and figure out the climate in the athletic department, figure out what's going on that's wrong, because obviously there are certain things that aren't working as far as the department is concerned. Um, a lot of this, I believe that the study was brought about because of the allegations towards the athletic department from the student athletes on the men's soccer program that say that the department reacted to their allegations towards head coach Chris Wally with an indifferent response. Um, they went to Rick Costello and possibly Kathy Litzow in November to tell them of their allegations. Now they went to them after considering talking to Coach Wally himself and after considering going to the administration. They decided to go to athletics because Rick Costello would be Chris Wally's boss, for lack of a better word, and he would be able to take care of things. In November, they relayed their problems. They said that Wally had shown preferential treatment towards the foreign, specifically English players on the program, that he had um, been verbally abusive towards the student athletes. I get things like that. Bobby Knight probably could get that allegation about 6,000 times. And a basketball player is probably a little different makeup than a soccer player. But they also said that they had there was some racial tone to those negative comments. The N word was flashed around in reference to both players in our own program as well as players on other teams that they were playing. It led to Robbie Boyd quitting the team, and then they went to the department to share these allegations. That was in November. In December or January, Martin Castro, who is an alumni and I believe was a volunteer assistant with the team this past year, was contacted by Kathy Litzow because he was kind of like the ringleader of the deal, and told that the university, the athletic department, had reviewed their situation and decided that it was best if they had decided that their best decision was that Wally would remain as head coach. Castro and the players were not happy with that resolution, and they decided to go public. They went to the Journal Sentinel, they went to local television news, and they pled their case. Um, it was a um, it was kind of a black eye for the university because now you're saying that these allegations came up and they decided nothing of it. That's fine, but almost immediately thereafter, Wally was suspended, as well as Benji Shepard as assistant coach. They were both suspended for these allegations, and eventually Wally was fired. Shepard is now the interim coach, so I'm assuming that they found that Shepard wasn't really involved in the real negative stuff. Um, I was told by people to look back to DJ Alexander and Andrew Wiedebach. Andrew Wiedebach quit in the fall of 2010 after the season ended, and DJ Alexander quit in last spring. And while Wiedebach wouldn't go on the record about things, DJ Alexander was willing to talk. And my main concern was, they know everything about Wally. they know everything that Wally had, said and done, that the allegations had come up in November. And my main concern was with, Costello and Litzow and other people being under hot water. Is my concern is, do they have, did they talk to DJ? And DJ told me that he had only had contact with Wally and Shepard, and that he had no contact with anybody in the athletic department. So I'm a little surprised, number one, because a player who's quitting the program should probably have like an exit interview. You would think they would do that. I don't know if it's part of their rules to do that or not. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Maybe they allowed Wally to conduct that interview, whatever. Maybe that's what the contact that he and Alexander and Wally had and counts for that. But as a young black player who was promising, who played quite a bit, quit the program in the spring of 2011, all of a sudden it's fall 2011 and allegations are coming up regarding racism towards players. It's still surprising to me that almost a year later, Alexander has still not been contacted by people in the athletic department regarding his quitting of the program. So you have at least that, maybe, and I was told by other people that Wiedebach had quit the team for similar allegations to what the players were, and that Wiedebach actually did have contact with the athletic department regarding why he quit. Now, I can't tell you what Wiedebach said to me because he didn't want to go on the record, and our conversation was actually fairly short and to the point. He just answered a couple questions, but I would say, based on the allegations from other people, that the department had known about this a year in advance of the new allegations. It's kind of surprising that they'd hear something from one player, possibly, and then a year later not hear the same things and then not act on them. So that's kind of the thing. That might be with Wiedebach. It definitely was with Alexander. Alexander quit the team for very similar allegations, and it would have been. And if you forget the Wiedebach situation, if you forget that Wiedebach quit Alexander, and then the fall, that's two situations. I mean, it's not a pattern quite yet, but it's the same thing has happened twice. So it's kind of surprising that they came to the conclusion that they were going to keep Wally as head coach. So I believe that's why the climate study came about. If anything else, why did this become news? I mean, it was front page of the Journal Sentinel. It was a big deal. So why is this a deal? I have heard from other sources that the reason that Ronnie Jones was on staff this past year, was stemming from Brian Bidlingmeyer's dismissal from the program. They have not been clear as to why Bidlingmeyer left, but Bidlingmeyer did not quit the team under his own volition, because the department is still paying his salary through this year. So he didn't just say, I quit and leave. So if you can assume he was fired, you can assume he was downsized or whatever. There's a million different ways you can leave a job besides just straight up quitting. If you can assume that it wasn't him quitting because he's still getting paid by the department, and that is why Ronnie Jones was promoted instead of them getting an assistant coach from elsewhere. The reason that Ronnie was promoted is because they had no other options, because allegedly Costello and the athletic department were not allowing them to hire a third assistant coach. And there's a couple things you need to take away from that. Number one is that if you have 2 out of 3 assistant coaches, you are at a major disadvantage in recruiting. I mean, major, because every single coach has certain restrictions on time with recruits and the amount of times they can contact recruits. And if you have only 2 of your 3 assistants out there doing two of 3 people in that assistant coach job doing the work, you have a real issue with recruiting. On the other end of that, you can understand that the department had a major budget deficit, and they have an extremely huge structural deficit that, thankfully, because of the SFC, because of cutbacks all around the program, is starting to go down. Well, Billy Meyer being continue to be paid by the department, all of a sudden you had them unwilling to pay another assistant coach for the men's basketball program. So I'm told that Ronnie Jones was promoted at no pay increase to basically be the third assistant, to be the third assistant, and that he would be out on the road recruiting. I know that he did do recruiting, and I know he did pretty good recruiting for somebody who had not been a recruiting coach before. I hear that Ronnie actually probably will remain with the program, whether that is to go back to video coordinator or not, I don't know. This past year, Tone Boyle served as the video coordinator, and in a year where 1 year out of college and you want to be a coach, you're usually going to be a graduate assistant somewhere. I will speculate on assistant coaches, possible assistants later. I can tell you one name that should be the assistant coach, should have been back on the staff years ago, because he's going to be the guy that's going to take us to the Final Four. His name is Justin Einerson, and he was a graduate assistant with the program. And for the past 6 years, he's been at various D3s and JUCOs. He's at a JUCO in Texas now. He started out at Clark University in Dubuque, Iowa. But he's a damn good basketball coach. The guy knows his stuff about basketball, and he's not a kid anymore. He's 28 years old. So you really have to look and see and understand that Einerson would be a very good, experienced coach. And as far as like names for that, I'm going to leave it at Justin Einerson. That would be my pick if I were to make the call. But beyond that, let's get back to the whole climate study situation. So everybody in the athletic department was getting interviewed as part of this climate study. And of all the people that I have personally talked to, they're all done with their interviews. So you now have a situation where either because of the vacations that Lovell and Costello took and then returned on Monday, you have a situation where either they're still in the middle of the climate study or Lovell and the administration haven't made a decision based on the findings of those results. I was told that Costello was in the office on Monday. His car was in the garage, and somebody else saw him in the office. But yesterday, Tuesday, nothing. And today, Wednesday, nothing. So I don't know if Costello's there and just quiet as a mouse, or if he's actually not been in the department. I don't know. But all we know for sure is that he was there on Monday. Nobody that I have talked to had talked to him since then. So that's basically what I've got so far. I've got my ear to the ground. I was actually down at the department myself. I kind of drove by to kind of see what was going on. Couldn't see anywhere in the Costello's office. The lights were off, so I don't know what them, I don't know what you can take from that. It was like 1 o'clock today. So, I can tell you that I will keep my nose to the grindstone. I will try and figure this out. I will not make it premium news once I find something. That will be public news once it is out. But yeah, I'll keep working and try and find a resolution. Try and find what's actually happened here, because it's obvious that things are going on in the department, and hopefully we'll have our answers soon, shortly. Just keep your eyes peeled on PantherU.com. I realize that some people aren't exactly happy with the duplication of forums, but most of my news, most of my real scoop news I'm putting on the premium forum. So I would say get on there if you can. It's a good deal. Fans of Wisconsin or Marquette will pay upwards of $100 a year for the same thing that you get from me for $25, and if you're a student, you get it for $10 a year. That is, at least I feel that's, very reasonable considering the work that I put in for this. So I would say that you just I would say that if you feel like you can, fine. If you'd rather just wait for the news that'll come on, that's your prerogative too. I mean, I understand that certain people purse strings are tight, or they may not, put a great priority on knowing the news. That's the great thing about being in America. I'm not forcing you to buy my information. I'm just buying the news that I'm putting out, or the commentary, or anything like that. You know, I'm just putting my degree to use, I suppose is the best way to put it. So for Brew City Ball and PantherU.com, my name is Jimmy Lemke. Um, I hope that I have something more concrete for you guys soon. Thanks.